left-hand side, the guy uses it as a hen house. In the garden. Look right there. Those are impacts of a Sherman tank shells hitting it. That one used to be there, but it was destroyed. And they're all over the place.
This is Trevor's house. There's the well-known Trevor. That's his wife. And we're going to have lunch here. More later.
Is a marker that shows the route that the Americans took once they get off the beach. They're going through the peninsula, going through Normandy, going through France. Remember earlier this morning I said that from lower Normandy to the German border it's 350 miles. 350 miles equals 505 kilometers. And there's one of these markers every single kilometer from here to the Belgian border in Bastogne. Look on the right-hand side of the road over there. Exactly 1 kilometer from here is another marker.
Where is that?
On the right-hand side.
Right on the corner there?
You count 1 telephone pole, 1 flagpole, 2 flagpoles, 3 flagpoles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, way
down,
down, yes.
Yes. Now here, it's got 48 stars because the flag of the United States had 48 stars in 1944. Then it says kilometer 00, Voie de la Liberté 1944, the Road to Freedom 1944, the flame of the Statue of Liberty, the A with the circle is the 3rd Army, and you've got the waves here for Utah Beach. It says in French, here landed American forces on June 6, 1944. 2 miles. Wow. Why? Because the estuary that curves off to the right gives to the Douve River that goes through Carentan. So when I first started studying about Normandy, I believed that the Germans would build their bunker along the coastline, and then a couple hundred yards from that, they would build another bunker, and then a couple hundred yards from that, they would build another bunker, and another, and another, and another. But the Germans weren't stupid. Hitler wanted 16,000 strong points. By June 6, 11,500 of them had been built. And what's a strong point? A strong point in German is a Widerstand-Nest, or WN for short. And what does it mean? It literally means a nest of resistance that can hold out for 24 hours while being surrounded on all sides, and more importantly, it can resupply itself without any outside help. Inside a Widerstand-Nest position, between 40 and 80 German soldiers are stationed, and they're on a 24-hour, 3 8-hour shifts, and they're shifting. So this is my drawing stick. I'm going to draw to you what an average Widerstand-Nest looks like so you can understand. Alright. A Widerstand-Nest position is 450 yards long, 250 yards wide. At both extremities of the Widerstand-Nest position, you're going to have 2 German gun batteries. Their guns are not facing towards the ocean because once the men make it to the beach, the guns are useless. No, the guns go down the length of the beach. If you can keep firing that gun knowing that men have to cross it, it's a lot more effective of a gun. Then you might have an ammunition bunker here. Some shelters for the men or some barracks. A medical bunker. A communications bunker. An anti-aircraft bunker which would have a round opening. And then you're going to have a machine gun position, also known as Tobruk, because when the Allies went to the North African city in Libya of Tobruk, they saw this German machine gun position, didn't know what to call it, so the name stuck, a Tobruk. Then connecting these bunkers are zigzagging trenches that are 5 to 6 feet deep, reinforced with wood, and sometimes not. Denny, I've got a question for you. Why would the Germans make zigzagging trenches? Think about it. What would happen if the trench was a straight line?
Somebody could get at one end
and shoot everyone.
Shoot everybody.
They're zigzagging because you can only shoot as far as you can see, which means that you have to go here and then shoot here and here. Now the Germans had machine guns, but they also had grenades.
More of this later.
The and then you go left of that, you can see a piece of cement wall.
Oh, yes.
That's the last piece of that anti-tank wall. Remember, the communications bunker inside the Widerstand nest. That house in the war was not a two-story house, it was a one-story house. The Germans were smart. They built that communication bunker behind that fisherman's house, so from the shore, you could not tell there was a bunker behind it. But this is the Widerstand nest position. Get the two monuments put into place. The stained glass window that's behind you, also put there for the 60th anniversary D-Day, and that cost 6,700 euros, and they still came up with the funds to have it placed here. Through donations and charity. Oh, wait,
Isn't that when we were coming, something we saw all those veterans coming to some of the...
Would you like to have a seat on the first or second row?
Right out here?
Yeah. Depending on your comfort level, the back
This
row is
church,
large.
which she's going to tell us about, was built in 1200 or thereabouts.
You have to imagine that all the windows of this church by June 6th have been blown out for fear of German snipers hiding behind them. Robert White and Kenneth Moore put into this church 81 men on the floor. Sometimes the two medics have to cover the paratroopers in their own silk parachute because the floor is so cold they don't want them to go into shock. They put them with their heads towards the center and their feet towards the wall because these thick walls would prevent, if even there was an explosion, of more vital parts like the heart and the head to be touched.
Isn't that when we were coming, something we saw all those veterans coming to some of the...
Would you like to have a seat on the first or second row?
Right out here?
Yeah. Depending on your comfort level, the back
This
row is
church,
large.
which she's going to tell us about, was built in 1200 or thereabouts.
You have to imagine that all the windows of this church by June 6th have been blown out for fear of German snipers hiding behind them. Robert White and Kenneth Moore put into this church 81 men on the floor. Sometimes the two medics have to cover the paratroopers in their own silk parachute because the floor is so cold they don't want them to go into shock. They put them with their heads towards the center and their feet towards the wall because these thick walls would prevent, if even there was an explosion, of more vital parts like the heart and the head to be touched.